Hi everybody, Joel from RC Max UK here. Hope you're doing very, very well. Now this is my Losi 5B, probably my favourite fifth scale petrol car. Really easy to use, fun, lively, relatively light and easy to get around. Because of that lightness, it's kind of nimble and quick, even with a standard small bore motor in it. This has just got a Zenoah 29cc engine in it, standard. It's got a Victory race pipe on it. That's pretty much it, really. I suppose it's fairly standard. Just running a single steering servo and, yeah, standard wheels and tyres and so on. As you can see from the body, there's a lot of holes in the body. These Losi 5Bs, the only one thing that they are known for a bit, or got a bit of a bad reputation for, is overheating motors. Now, normally, I think it's more hot motors that it overheat, as in tuned motors and maybe the bigger cc motors. If you stick to 29cc and below, a good 26 Revy engine is quite good in here, I hear. But if you go for 32 and above them, so not a standard motor, you're looking for a bit of trouble, really. So people have been messing about, making loads of holes in the body and so on, trying to get airflow in there and trying to get air up and out of the body. So I opened up the top of the engine there, as you can see, the heat shield. Also the body a lot around the top there to try and get heat up and out, and it seemed to work fine for me. This video is about the brushless conversion I've just done. I wanted to give it a try. It's nothing to do with not liking the petrol setup. I really like it, as I say, probably my favourite car. So as it's my favourite, I thought it lent itself quite well to a brushless conversion, being relatively light for a fifth scale car. So just taking the bits out here so you can see what comes out. You've got your fuel tank, your exhaust pipe, of course, the engine itself, and then you move on to things like the servo setup. It has got a twin servo setup, but as I say, for steering, but as I say, I only use one, which seems plenty really as far as I'm concerned. The radio tray, the throttle servo and battery holder, and then of course the center differential comes out with the brake setup on it. Now I didn't use the mechanical brake, although with this TEAM LOSI Racing carbon conversion kit, it does come with the ability to use the throttle and brake servo as just a brake servo to take the braking away from the ESC. I did consider using the Losi 5T rear brace on here, but it didn't actually fit with the motor mount there, so I didn't end up using it. So this is the kit itself. It comes in a very nicely packaged box with some excellent instructions from TEAM LOSI Racing. It's the e-conversion kit, which you can use in the 5B and the 5T. It's a mixture of carbon parts and aluminium, nicely machined aluminium parts. And that's the motor I'm using. It's a cheap, simple setup. I went for a 56112 rocket motor, which is a 780 kV, 8S maximum. And it's a big motor, but it's nothing crazy. You can get much bigger fifth scale motors as well. This is just a fairly simple, fairly cheap setup going in here. And I went with a Max 5 ESC as well. So this is what you get in the box. Starting with a motor mount, it's a nicely machined aluminium mount with TLR written on it. It only takes a maximum of the 56mm motors because they slide into it, and basically the outer rim of it doesn't allow a bigger motor in there. You've got these very nice carbon battery trays, which were a bit of a fiddle to make. There's quite a lot of screws to put in there, but they're very adjustable, so you can use quite long batteries or adjust it to suit the batteries that you're using. Just showing you here a few of the nice aluminium machine parts. They look really nice quality. They're well machined, very nicely finished, and there's a few of the other parts there as well. All the parts are bagged up with numbered bags, and the instructions are very nice and clear. You get a few plastic parts which are part of the battery trays as well. Again, just nicely finished. All the screws are in bags with labels on, so it's an easy to follow kit to put together. You also get a 15-tooth pinion, mod 1.5 pinion to go as a starter pinion. I did actually go myself pretty much straight away to a 20-tooth pinion, but I will try the 15-tooth. You also get the spacers so that you can get the gear mesh correct, and they're all the Velcro straps. There's loads of Velcro straps. Again, the battery tray is very adjustable, and you get the antenna tube as well, and a little receiver box, which is nice and small and simple, but everything basically you need there to do the conversion kit. It comes with a push-pull aluminium steering horn there, which is a nice upgrade as well, and the links to use the twin servo setup on there, which is what I went with. Right, let's have a quick look at the manual. Now, the manual that comes with this kit is very, very good. It's very clear. There's step-by-step instructions for everything in there, and measurements and so on. Very good pictures, easy to follow. So that's really, really good. The kit in general is just nicely put together. I really like it. It goes together quite simply, other than those battery trays, as I say, which are a bit fiddly. And again, a bit like the Losi 5B itself, being a kit car initially, that just the quality of it and the way things go together is really, really good. Typically of a kit, really, as we all know, compared to the RTR stuff, it is that little bit higher quality, and things are made to go together really nicely. So yeah, instruction manual is great. Right, moving on to the batteries I'm using. I'm using these Gens Ace 6750 milliamp hour 70C 4S lipos. So using 2 of them for 8S. I've got the EC5 connectors on there, which I quite like. Of course, I would, I guess, theoretically use bigger connectors, but they seem to be pretty much up to the job. And I use these batteries in 8-scale cars and so on, so I'm sticking with them for now. Body-wise, it's a graphite body that I've got for this car. Now, it is the petrol body. You can get a electric body, which has a much flatter back on it, but this is the petrol body, so I will probably end up using it for petrol when I convert the car back to using a proper engine. This is a kind of experiment. I mean, I may find I really like it, in which case I'll keep it electric, but I'm kind of thinking the likelihood is I'll go back to petrol after trying it out. Right, so a little look at the kind of sequence of the build. Basically, it starts with the carbon tray for the servos, the twin steering servos, and of course there's a space for the brake servo at the back there, and there's also a little spot for a switch, an on-off switch if you want to mount your on-off switch there. You've got the aluminium towers there which hold the servo plate up, and they screw on, and then you've got the risers to fit the brake servo on if you're going to use it. So that's the first bit, a nice carbon section there. You then mount the receiver box to the carbon mount, and the receiver box is actually quite small, a little bit fiddly to get your wires in there, but it's very neat once it's done. Just held on with a couple of screws. It's got a lid and a sticker as well. Remember to use some blue Loctite in this section, or in this whole build actually, because you've got, of course, a lot of metal screws going into aluminium parts. So remember your blue Loctite. Right, so a very common upgrade in general for these cars, and the Losi 5T of course, is the push-pull steering setup. And this kit comes with a very nice aluminium machined push-pull steering arm there and servo saver. So that goes in next. Remember there's a grub screw under the servo saver spring, which holds the nut on. So remember to undo that. I didn't realize that was there, so it took me a little while to sort that out. And then you got to put on your servo horns, get your servos in, route your wiring into the receiver box. Right, a quick look at how these battery trays go together. Now, you've got these nice adhesive little foam pads which go onto those carbon trays to give it a little bit of grab and a little bit of softness to the tray there. And then it's a matter of screwing all these little Velcro securing tabs to the battery trays. It suggests where to put them for a kind of medium-sized battery. You can put them in different positions though, depending on where you want to put, what sort of battery size you want. And then they all go together like that. Because there's 3 straps on each tray, you have got 6 of those to screw down. So it is a bit of a long-winded process. They're quite small screws, so it's a bit of a fiddle. But they're once they're together, they're very adjustable and they work really well. And they hold the batteries really, really securely as well. That's the ESC bracket or mount. Now the body I'm using, because it's got a little dip in it, I can't mount my ESC on that plate, that carbon plate just there, which acts as a bit of a kind of central brace as well. But I will probably cut open the body and mount the ESC on there at some point. I did fit aluminium towers to the center diff because I happen to have them, but they're not something you need to do really at all. Or everything else on here is just the standard plastic parts. And there's a final look at the kit when it's all assembled. Batteries are installed, the motor's there, the ESC's there, and they're the connections that I made with the batteries. I did a little kind of Y lead. I didn't go with the brake servo, the separate brake servo in the end. I wanted to try just using the ESC for the brakes, as you would with most RTR cars, purely for simplicity, to be honest, using less servos and maybe saving a little bit of weight. Here's the body. So I did a paint job on this body. It's the first paint job I've really done on my own. It didn't really come out colours wise the way I wanted. I thought the orange would be a lot more poppy than that and less brown. It kind of came out brown. Past, I had a Shark Fat custom body painted by Marcus at Shark Fat Customs, and I wanted to get another one done for this, to be honest, but he's got a big waiting list, so I thought I'd give it a go myself. It came out okay, but, you know, it's nowhere near what it could have been, obviously, if I got it custom done by a professional like Marcus. So next time, I think I'll probably go with that. But yeah, I'm happy with the car. Keep your eyes open for running videos, which will be coming soon. I've got a couple of modification ideas as well that I want to do. I'm meeting up with some mates and we're running at a BMX track in the coming days. So keep your eyes peeled for that video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. See ya.